Hi, and welcome back to C'est La Vie, the podcast. I am your host, Laura Fortino, and this is my co-host,
Sebastian Kahn. And today we are going to be talking about post-production.
That's right, post-production. So if you've been following the podcast, we are breaking down the making of C'est La Vie, the series. So we've talked about the concept, where it came from, the writing of it, pre-production. We took you through 10 episodes after the show clip, plus information about our experience on set.
Absolutely.
And then now we're into post-production. If you have not, and you're joining us for the first time today, sure, listen today, but then go back and listen to it all. If you really want to either make your own film, your own web series, your own short, whatever you want to do. If you want to become a director, if you want to become a cinematographer, whatever you want to do, I think that
there are things to learn.
Yeah, I think that
no matter what position you want to be in this industry, I think there are moments, whether it's crew, whether it's acting, writer, director, anything. There are challenges that we had to face as crew and as a writer and an actor and a producer that we talk about here on this podcast and, shed light. So learn from mistakes that we've made, learn from challenges that we've had to face and overcome.
Yeah. Or advice that we give.
Or advice. Or things that
we're
great.
Saying that we made sure we did specific things and that helped make the shoot easier.
Absolutely.
So there, we have all kinds of information in the previous episodes that I feel could be helpful. But beyond that, in my opinion, if you're going to consume the podcast, then go back to YouTube and TikTok and watch the shows because they're all out now. So you'll be able to see the show and then listen to the corresponding episode podcast and really get a deep dive into it. And you could even, before consuming the show, if you want, listen to the prequel, the beginning episodes of this podcast that talk about how we came up with it. Yeah.
How it's come to be, and then what went into every episode, and the effort put behind it all. But here we are. Post-production. An extremely, extremely important part of a production.
Yes, and I'm just going to say, I went post, and you went post-production, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got a condensed mic at you and you're acting and you go, often the editor's going to have to deal with that, or the sound guy's going to have to say, wait a minute, I got to turn the boom down. I got to whatever we got to do that. Post-production. So, you'd be surprised. I think about back when I started delving into the idea of making my own film. Okay, so I was an actor. Went to theater arts in college, went to an acting school. I went to Playhouse West. I'm a Meisner trained actress, and did a lot of plays, started writing for those plays, but actually was writing previously in college anyways. I took playwriting. I did a lot of creative writing. So we start putting those on, and then, more and more people around me are starting to make films. And it was a little hard back then because I will tell you it was still film.
Yeah.
People had camcorders or Super 8s.
Yeah.
Otherwise it was film.
Mm-hmm.
And camcorder short films, I never got into doing those. I never thought like that. For me, I was like, that's not the quality of what I'm looking to put out. Like a camcorder, great, you did a story, but it seems like it's in your backyard or whatever.
Yeah, it
was
had
a very
that
hard,
homey, home video feel. I watched just in history and appreciation of cinema, like the first ever digital movie feature film.
Oh,
and it was
really?
shot on a camcorder. Now I'm blanking on the name.
Oh, dang, I want the name
I will
now.
find it and
I need to know what this is.
But
and we'll have to put it up for these people.
It was 2 hours.
camcorder.
camcorder footage. And I was
it Blair Witch Project?
No.
No, I feel like that was camcorder footage.
Oh my gosh!
But then they made something that lent towards that. 100%. They made a sketchy horror film, like it was a docu, right? Like that's why they got so big, and they're making another one. That's dumb. You can't remake that.
Well, it's all.
But it's as
one of our producers just found it for me. It's Wind Horse. Yes, you need to watch that. It's very interesting, and it was a big pivotal movie.
She's like Wobby Wob. Sorry.
Yeah, totally.
On Armchair. Okay, awesome. Go ahead. Wind Horse.
It's the reason it's in history and appreciation of cinema is
because it was somebody doing something new.
New, right? And I mean, this is shot on a camcorder. It is handheld the majority of the time.
Well, yeah, because
so much movement.
Did they create sticks for a camcorder? Like, how would it
I don't even...
Like, a camcorder didn't have a way to be on a...
Yes. It was... there was no fitting for it.
No.
It was literally... But what they did, and they made decisions. They made bold choices to implement... the size of that camera, the camcorder, was so small that you could fit the camera in some wild... places.
Whoa,
Wind
the
Horse,
dogs,
guys. It's a big deal.
Okay, so my thing with filming on a camcorder is, didn't you have to put those little tape cassettes in?
Yes.
Cartridges. Okay, yeah. Then look like okay. So then, if you put that in, how do you edit that? That type of roll. Like, are you literally undoing those rolls and splicing this together to get one long... And what are you splicing it onto? I'm so confused.
This is something
I really need to talk to... So my friend Jimmy is an editor, Jim Creda. I wish I could say he's editing Say Love You. Nothing against Ted. I love Ted. But Jim's done really large projects. He actually did edit my daughter's... first film, which was a film she made as a project, 8th grade project at Waldorf School of Orange County. And he did it as a favor for knowing me for so long. Also because he was an assistant editor pretty much up until then. And he wanted to edit a new piece all on his own to show to his bosses. And it worked. He moved on to.
Oh, cool.
He moved on to full editor.
I didn't know that.
Yes. But, I feel like, so he first started editing with the team that edited a lot of Apatow's films.
Oh, wow.
And he was working on, I think, did Apatow do something about Mary? Producer, she's looking it up.
She's going to look it up.
What was one of Apatow's first films? Especially if it had Cameron Diaz in it.
Cameron Diaz.
Okay, so I have the piece of the film strip. I got to go look for it. So his first editing job was on Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went to the offices where he was editing.
Oh, cool.
And he had the, I think it was Paramount, because it's Paramount where they had the street Wisteria Lane.
I believe so.
Yeah, okay. So I got to go to the office one evening when he was there towards the end of the day. Everybody had gone home, and he was literally, back then, it was still all on film. And which we know some people still do, but you have to do these end cuts, these end splices to put the film together. And he was showing me how you cut from one roll to the next roll, and then how there's this little end piece you get to cut off. And he cut me off a piece, and I got it as a souvenir, like it said the name of the movie, and it's somewhere in my souvenirs, and she's looking it up still. But I feel like there's something about Mary. Anyways, long story short, then we took a ride on a cart because he worked on set. This was totally fun. This has nothing to do with post-production other than he's a post-production worker. Yes. And I was in my sunglasses on this little cart going around the back lots of Paramount or
Paramount,
whatever it was.
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
I think is that the
Wait. Okay. Who does maybe it's Universal. Maybe Universal had Wisteria Lane. They do the studio tour. No, but Warner Brothers does a studio tour. I think it was
so
Warner
does
Brothers.
Paramount.
Okay. So literally, I'm really well versed on my studio tours.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
And I know which one it was. Anyways, all I remember is we drove past Wisteria Lane. So whichever studio, maybe he was working on Warner Brothers. Whichever studio he was on, we drove past there. We drove past like the little truck giving the studio tours. It was Universal. Interesting. I thought I went in the Warner Brothers lot gate or Paramount, but okay.
Universal
Listen, I've been
Studios.
on the back lots of all of them because as an actor, I've worked on all these studios. But so, anyways, he took me on the cart ride. He gave me the end splice of the tape. He's a great human being, and he's an editor. And but I'm assuming that so these reels
Yes.
are on these big,
Yeah, huge.
like the way you would do music back in the day, right?
Yep.
And now, how are they doing? Like, what are they doing to spin out these little things? We have a dog coming into frame. Come here, just sit down and just get over it. Sit down and be in here. So we have a guest appearance by Gigi today, and I'll just scoot over and let Gigi hang, and then she'll stop barking maybe. I'm just trying to figure out how these people took this camcorder footage. They had to put it on a reel, but it's like they couldn't put it on an already made machine. These people had to come up with their own
their own hardware to
because
edit.
these little
so
things
much
did
smaller.
not hold 2 hours of footage, did they?
No chance.
You don't think? Maybe we're wrong. So. Maybe they did, but still, then you'd have to literally have 2 hours, like no.
A perfect 2 hours.
Right.
You can't.
That's literally. I think that. I mean.
Who knows?
I don't even think there's a documentary like that.
No.
Everything's edited.
It has.
That's why we're talking about post.
Edited.
Everything's edited.
Yes.
Okay.
And how important it is, right?
It is. Because back to the idea that you can go out and make your own film. So a lot of people are like, I can make my own film on my phone. And yes, you could put it in TikTok and edit it with the TikTok app. You could edit it on iMovie. You could do all that. But really, to get real editing where you're really... now, of course, they have little app things that are fades and stuff.
And you have AI now.
Yeah.
You can throw your footage into an AI and they will edit for you. I tried that recently.
But that's only if you're filming in something that you can... Well, I mean, I guess you could take...
you can take videos.
You could take videos, dump them into your computer, and then dump them into AI app.
Different. It really works well for, online content, TikTok, social media things, because that has like different look and like hooks within the editing, hook tools to get us to engage with that type of content. Right. So it's a little different, but Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut, these different editing softwares that Avid, of course, Pro Tools for sound. These are humongous software tools, devices
for actual video or film footage.
Yes.
And if you're talking film footage, you're going to need an editing bay. Completely. More than your house-made editing bay, unless you've got like the pieces of material to do it. But post is easier now than it was in the camcorder day. This is what we're getting at with all these questions about how were they editing that camcorder footage, and easier than it was with film. But we have the issue of many people making little films and trying to edit them on something like iMovie, even if it wasn't filmed on an iPhone. They're using, or they might be using Adobe, but they're not having real post done.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we're talking about, like the p in the sound, but that's a little minuscule thing. Not doing room tone. not understanding how to lay room tone in. And I'm not saying I understand it.
Right.
All I know is that if I'm sitting here recording with you and we're running this all live, that's great.
Yes.
That's great. But if we're doing a take over here and we're doing cut, and a take over here and we're doing cut, and we're doing an MOS piece of business, and we didn't roll sound on it, what are you going? You're not going to use camera sound on it. But if you show that MOS piece in the middle, what are you going to do? What happens is people are talking and there is normal background sound. And you hear plenty of it here in our podcast.
For sure.
Because we have dogs barking, doors shutting. I don't know. I just heard a plane go over, but I think it was too quiet to hit this. But you have the sound of the room. And I see this all the time. I don't know how happens, but I'm assuming they're filming one person's dialogue and then they're waiting a day, or later that day they're doing the setup for the other person's close-up.
Yeah.
And the sound has either changed or the sound wasn't clear, so they ADR'd it. But when they ADR'd it, nobody did room tone, and the editor doesn't have room tone to lay under the ADR voice.
It is.
And it goes, shh. Okay, you talk. So I'm your background room.
Yeah.
I was.
I mean, it's like, and then
I talk, and that's gone. And then you talk.
And then I'm talking again.
And
yeah.
Then I talk.
No,
it's bad.
Gets horrible, and you notice it instantly.
Oh yeah, because it drops.
It drops out, and it goes quiet. There's not like a kind of like a staticky sound, right? That room sound, and that's, without getting into like the whole science of airwaves and particles in the air that transmit the sound that is being spoken, right? And the vibrations that are flowing through the wind, if you will, through the air, and bouncing off of what's in the room, right? A chair, a human. So when we do room tone, you want to have all the bodies that were in that room for that.
Right, you're not doing an empty room.
Because it will change the room tone. You could go later that day, just the sound guy, and go get the room tone. Well, no, it's going to sound different. Before, we just had 5 people in that room. It changed the room tone.
Yeah.
And so that's something that, with our ears, you get trained to kind of hear. You hear the difference. You can totally hear the difference when it's after post-production, when you're going through that audio, you can hear the difference 100%. Anyone can. But on the day, it's hard to remember sometimes. You got to have a sound guy that is on it, that knows, and that is, holding us filmmakers and everyone accountable to stand there in silence for 1 minute and record this room tone, or else everything else is going to go downhill from there.
Right. And the other thing about post and sound, so let's go with the phrase fix it in post on sound, and then we'll go with the phrase fix it in post on camera.
Yeah, I mean,
what can you fix in post on sound? I think by having room tone, you could fix the dropouts.
Yes.
Can you erase sound like a dog barking or an airplane? Sometimes they can separate. It depends on how you're recording.
It depends on if we're talking while the dog's barking.
Right, because they could, if the dog barks in between our lines, they could place like room tone there.
Yes.
The other thing is depends on, right now, we're filming a podcast. Because our podcast mics have not arrived and I could not purchase them locally, we are filming a podcast with a Zoom, and we are using the Zoom dynamic mic instead of my Sennheiser condenser mic, because the condenser mic would be great on one of us at a time.
Yes.
And our sound person is not here today. She was here earlier, but she is now gone, and we're set up. Had we had a sound person here, they could boom us the whole time, back and forth. But each of us talking they need to lean the boom towards them for a condenser mic to pick it up.
Right.
This dynamic mic there's a mic under there going towards me, and there's a mic, it's technically 2 mic heads.
Yes.
And on this particular brand. So we got 2 mic heads. I don't know why they aim it that way. Maybe because it's more compact rather than sticking the mics out that way, right? So I have a mic aimed towards me, and you have a mic aimed towards you. They're only so big. So
like
on for you
half an
listening
inch.
on a podcast is about half an inch in diameter, and we have the fuzzy cover over those mics to help.
With the S's and the P's and the
Right,
pop filter.
right. So we have that on there, and it's picking up more of the room.
Yes.
And so that's why if dogs are barking while we're doing this, we're not really cutting to anything in this. We might cut to some footage.
Yeah.
We may maybe we're recording it right now. So once it's edited, maybe we'll pop in some bad sound for you to hear.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do some
We
little
have that
things.
too.
We have plenty of it. So, but so there's different kinds of mics. So if you were, because we're recording on one mic,
Right.
there's nothing we can do today.
No.
No. We can use room tone.
We can get room tone.
And then when if the dogs were barking when we were not talking, the editor could choose to replace that little bit, splice out the dog bark, and put a room tone in. I actually don't have a problem with the dog barking or an airplane. I know a lot of people do. If it were incessant, I would.
Yeah.
But if it's the occasional, like, this is a podcast. We're not, like, it's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's documenting, it's collecting real life, a real conversation between you and I. You know, it's not staged in any way.
No.
Right? We're not even.
But so the other thing I was gonna say was then if we were all mic'd though on a shoot, and somebody's, it's a big shoot, we're spread out, and somebody over there's mic catches the dog bark, or a boom over there does, but a boom over here, and these mics don't. Then you're
swipe.
golden.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the safety, right, of having multiple sound recording devices happening at the same time. Multiple takes as well, right? We can cut between things like that. Those are those safeties. The plan B, not even plan B, but just multiple ways of
The way you keep it, just so that
so it's safe. But yeah, the whole kind of rule of thumb is recording poor audio is extremely hard to fix. Pour in, pour out. That's the saying, right? You can't record poor audio and then expect to have clean audio when we fix it in post, in quotes, fix it in post. That's not a thing with audio specifically.
No, but I will tell you, when you're doing a good short film or a good independent project, we'll see, but possibly I will send this all to a sound lab too. They're not called sound lab, sound studio, sound. So there's a couple that I've worked with in the past. When you get too high highs, too low lows, people not bringing up the sound enough, whatever, we'll see what the editor, Ted, will do a lot that, with this, what he can do, not necessarily with this, with the actual series 1 through 10. But if we come into a part where it's like we're just not getting clean, like it's just could be better, then we would take it one step further and go to a sound studio. Now, we did that for our short, a couple of our short films, because those short films were placed into festivals that told us they were putting them into large theaters.
You have to
So you're now
adhere to
projecting it into a larger audience, and when you play it, you could maybe hear it a little psst or hum or something that wasn't pleasant. So then we sent it to a sound place to clean all that up, and they clean all that up, and then because we had a short that literally went to it went to a theater, an actual theater where you could buy tickets. It ran for a week in the theaters, which got it the ability to go to the Oscar screening room. So we needed to have
it had to be perfect.
a whole other level of post.
Yeah.
We had to go make now I'm gonna forget the name, a specific type of file for it to be screened on the screen. You had to do, the sound had to be put into multiple channels. So you had to have the sound person break the sound down into specific channels.
To be like 3-dimensional, right? Because in a movie theater, you've got, it's like, what is it, 5:2 or I don't 7.2 or
Right,
whatever
it was
is.
all these numbers, and it was like
Yeah.
your sound needs to be this left, right, and then you also need this. That you need the mono and the stereo
You've got
separate,
your
and da 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 da.
subwoofers and your
Yeah.
speakers and everything, and 5 or 7 around you, and then you get into like IMAX, and it's like 12 different places it has to be, and then 3D. So much. I learned all about that, and sound design and sound post production for
So
sound.
the realization of you making your own short or film, you need to ask yourself. So this is a web series. It's in the title, web series. I have no intention of this being on a major screen. So I'm not probably going to send it into some, expensive sound situation, because it's going to be coming out of people's phones and computers.
Right.
So we don't need this extensive sound, but we need good sound. Whereas if you are sending it, my thought is, if you want to make an independent film, I would get a sound recordist who has a mixing board. So we use the Zoom. You can mix a little bit on the Zoom, because you have levels you can mess with. And I have a decent Zoom. I have a Zoom H6, so it's got multiple inputs. So you could lav people in those inputs, or you can have more than one boom in it.
For sure.
So you could have somebody booming one side of the room. And I think if I shot again with this, I would get a second boom, and I'd have a second boom operator.
Yep.
You could do all of that. If you're going to use labs, I would suggest you use somebody who's got their own sound recorded device that they, our other recorder, he'd boom, he'd have his ear things on, but he would have his recording thing like on his belt. There, she's going to go now. That was her 15 minutes of fame. She's done. She's like, I'm out. Oh, I'm going over here now. I got hot. So I think that, but you need to know somebody who really knows labs, because I was on something where they laved somebody in a little thing I made, and thank God it was just for the internet. Her hair, and it kept rubbing against the lab.
Gosh, the worst.
Yes, and nobody told me. I didn't have the ear things on. We weren't using an actual sound person. My director was filming and doing sound all at once, and we had somebody else get on the ear things. Never told us about all the noise, and
pour in, pour out.
Not usable.
Can't use it.
Not usable. Thank God it wasn't something big. So my thought is, if you're gonna shoot an independent film, there is ways now. Also, there's could go into a whole podcast on how there are ways to get your independent films into theaters, or even nowadays you got Tubi, you got all these places you can put in independent film. You better have good sound.
Totally.
And they're often going to require different sound and different aspects of your footage in the different platforms you're going to play it in.
Totally. I mean, it's something that you would want to invest in.
Yes.
Is good sound specifically.
Good sound.
There's the whole study, and we've talked about this before. The whole study of 2 different sets of people going into a theater. And one with poor audio and one with poor visuals, poor video. And the people, and then the vice versa, right? The one with poor audio had fantastic, stunning imaging, and the one with poor visuals had perfect audio. And, who would walk out of the theater first? It was something like 75% of people were walking out of the poor audio with the good visuals, and only 13% of the people walked out of the one with poor visuals and perfect audio. Audio really drives the human senses. Like when we go to watch a film, the music, the audio has to be perfect. It's what we were told in film school.
It can rub against you when the audio sounds bad. It can be just cringy, and you need to leave.
100%.
But visually, you can handle it.
100%. What we were told was audio is about 60% of a film.
Wow.
60% is what we've been told. And every single one of our professors and film production classes and everything you guys don't know, your audio's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Learn audio. You can make a movie, you can shoot it, it'll look beautiful, But to record proper audio and know how to use proper audio is the most important thing. So that's really, post-production with sound is either hit or miss. Like there's no, oh, that's all right. No. It's either it's good or it's not good.
Right.
Unfortunately. But I think in something like when you're starting off, invest in your sound.
Well, the other thing is too, is if you're not a really snazzy director on understanding how to get a lot of great visuals, or your DP isn't, or whatever, but you've got a script that has a really strong dialogue, people can stay engaged even with the camera like we are. We're just sitting here talking.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't have strong dialogue, you don't have any music, so I watch short films where sometimes they drop everything out of it to go on some visual thing and it's bad. Mm-hmm. Or they put the wrong music behind it and it doesn't,
it drives it, right? The emotion of it too,
right? So it's very important. But that being said, the other thing about post I want to tell all filmmakers is that you can't be too precious about your footage. A good edit will make your project.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example. We did an episode here, episode 4. It's the first one where you meet Michael.
Yes.
And Michael, he did a great job filming himself in the phone because Kate is in America and Michael is in England. And he did a great job filming himself in the phone. And it was a technical feat to make that video fit in the phone properly. Because we don't want to see any of how I'm playing it, because it needed to look like he was live talking to me.
Right.
He was not live talking to me.
It was a video.
It was a video, but it was a video he recorded in WhatsApp. So it literally we had to then move that video into iMovie to add black or something on the front.
Yeah.
So that when I pressed it, it gave it a moment to me get to
set.
Because otherwise when I press it, it would show that I was watching a video. Like a video recording. So I had to press it again. So it took over the screen.
Right.
So it looked like I was talking to him live.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So we did
all
this.
I didn't know you had to do all that.
Yeah.
I knew it was a video.
But. Yeah. So we did all this. And it was sitting on this thing. And I press, get it right. Like we cut it. We got it ready. Road cut it really fast for me in iMovie. And we got it all ready and we did its thing. And so we had that lead-in time where it'd play before he started talking. So that the camera, because she wanted the camera to pan.
Right. On that dolly moment.
So we get all that going, and what he records is great. She has the camera over the shoulder on him.
Yep.
She has the camera at me.
Yep.
She has some pan moves. She edits all together. It's beautiful. His acting is wonderful. And overall, the pace of the episode is too slow. So what do? We start doing what you should do. You start making cuts. What can we cut? Well, he's talking about his YouTube channel. He talks about exploding a balloon on his dad's head. Okay. Then I have dialogue that I felt was important. I wrote the dialogue. I felt it was important it was the introduction of his character. I felt it was important to introduce, for us to understand that he's in another place. Why is he in another place? He's living with his dad, whatever. So without that being full exposition, we write it as subtly we can. Well, you shouldn't do that with your dad. I think your dad's not that kind of guy. Like, Michael, I don't think that's a good idea. But Mom, blah, blah, blah. Okay, never mind. I'll just go out. People love animals on YouTube. I'll go out and talk to animals. Okay?
Right.
So we went from the balloon exploding and me saying, oh, Michael, I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, scratch that. I'll film animals. We cut the whole thing. I'm getting ready to watch a new edit tonight to see if that helps pick up the pace. It had nothing to do with anything. It was beautiful footage. The acting was good. The point is, this is a comedy and the pace of the comedy must go.
Right. That's what's important.
Yes.
The most important. Not
So
that the,
you have to not be precious about your footage, about your acting, about your dialogue. You have to not be precious.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts me.
I know.
I want everything in it.
Me too.
My director's cuts are going to be like 5 hours long.
That's okay. You can have director's cuts because once somebody likes something, then the person who's the real film buff will go for the director's cut.
Of course.
Right? But, I didn't want to cut that. And as a matter of fact, I was going to make a shorter cut in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still wanted to tell him, listen, I think it'd have the exact opposite effect on your dad. And Deborah's like, no, just, it's okay. That more of this will come out as we go on. Just, we got to cut it. Let's make it shorter. And, Ted felt the same thing. As a matter of fact, he wanted to cut the whole first table scene. He wanted me to go to the window knocking and me getting up from the table.
Starting there.
And he's like, I love this actor. I hate to say this. This should be cut. It's fluff. But it wasn't fluff. Because I said, but you haven't you haven't been following the whole series. It's introducing a character. And you don't always introduce a character with a bang.
Well, because not only that, but it's introducing a character, but also giving insight into Kate's backstory. Oh, there's another marriage. Oh, she was married before. She has another kid that lives out of the country. Those are pretty big deal points because
the pressure for her to go,
right?
Because she's been in another country,
right?
And her son's and even though her son's an adult, he spent his teenage years and beginning adult years away from her with his dad in England. So it's important for Kate to also be near him. So if she takes everybody over there, she's golden. Like it was also more pressure. Like Deborah and I were like, no, that part we think he's incorrect about. Yes, it needs to be cut shorter, but it can't go away because the pressure on Kate has to build through every episode. And there has to be good reasons for her to want to leave and not just negative reasons. And the pressure of the moment of that episode needed to happen. So there's that. So there's don't be precious about your footage. In editing, you're going to need to edit out stuff that you like to tell your story concisely. I heard Kevin Costner talk about The Bodyguard, and it was not rating high. It was terrible. And he said it was in the 60s, 60 percentile. And they said, well, I guess that's as good as the movie's going to get. They got it up to 68%. And he said, nope, we're going to put 15 more minutes into the movie, but I'm going to, and they're like, or 30 minutes or something like that. And they're like, but how can you? And he said, because I'm going to cut 28 minutes. And he wasn't even the director, but he was like a producer or something. And he's like, or maybe he eventually took over directing. I can't remember, but he wasn't the original director. And he said, well, they said, how are you going to do that? And he said, basically 20 seconds at a time or 10 seconds at a time or whatever it is.
Well, 10 seconds over, an hour and a half, 2 hours adds up.
Right. So he's just keeps taking out these little moments where the camera just held just a little too long. And especially in comedy, unless you're punching in, unless you're doing something, those lazy, dreamy shots, gotta
snip them.
Yep. They gotta be
trim the fat.
Trim the fat.
That's what I always did. Because my first...
And that can be fixed in post.
That can.
You can shoot all you want and tighten that up in post.
My short film, my first one, my first draft of it, 35 minutes long. My final, 16 minutes.
Wow. You cut more than half.
I cut more than half. Because of a lot of it was, yes, editing, cutting the fluff parts of conversations. But then when it got to the end of that editing process, it was like there's 3 seconds here on this end of it, and there's 5 seconds on this end. Okay, let's take away that 8 seconds. But over, 15, 16, 17 minutes, it was like, oh, I'm trimming minutes at a time. Minutes off. So that is something that it takes time, but you can fix in post.
Right. You need a good editor.
And you need a great editor, and you need an editor that knows the story and knows how it's going to go down, because an edit, you could do back-to-back edits with the same footage and it can be completely different stories, completely different mediums.
Yeah, that's true.
The same footage, and editing is extremely important.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about film, obviously you and I have been talking, but for some people it might not they might not realize how involved the writers, the directors are in the editing process.
Yes.
They might not be the ones physically typing in the, or using the computer or cutting in the room, but they are there watching and making sure and monitoring quality control.
Depends on your director. So Ro cut her own cut,
right,
and then passed over the footage. Renata goes in and finds time code, gives an extensive list of this is where I want this first rough cut to be. Put this piece here, then the next you're going to take this time code from, scene 2, take 2, this number to this number, put that in next. And she literally writes a whole thing to the editor. There's other editors who get more freedom, but that's because they've been involved. You could pay them to be involved from the beginning.
Right.
I'm only paying for the actual edit.
Well, also directors that work with the same editor
all the time,
and they get the feel. Right. You get to see a lot of those duos, those partnerships throughout.
Right. Well, and then the other thing I have to say about post is assets. So the other thing you're not going to be able to do if you can't put your movie in post, you got to add music.
Yep.
You got to add your title sequences, your end credits. You don't film that.
No.
I mean, weirdly enough, I have seen people do it. I've seen people film a piece of paper with it on it, or
and that's creative and it's cute,
creative thing, yeah.
But no, a lot of the time, no, you're creating it. Adobe Audition, Adobe Premiere Pro has, an edits and that you fill. A credits that you fill in. So does DaVinci, these things, and then there's custom ones too, right? That you have to literally build.
Yeah. Sorry, you're not boring me.
It's okay.
Long day.
It has been. But needless to say, post-production, extremely important. Sound, extremely important. And staying involved. Seeing it through. A good project is a finished project regardless.
And
right?
you're not finished. You can get that in the can, but until it's in post and until the post is done, it is not actually viewable. Right. You can have a bunch of footage and then what? And I know actors who told me, I went and filmed this 2 years ago and they still don't have an edit because they had no goal and no vision and no plan.
Right.
Before you start shooting, you need a plan for editing. You need to know who's going to edit. You need to know what your plans are. And then you need to figure out, you need to know where is your distribution of that. So, big film is harder to distribute. Obviously, that's why we did a web series.
Right.
Because I can self-distribute.
Right.
Okay, but then beyond that, now I still need I need to get eyes on it.
Well, then you got that marketing. And that's what we're going to talk about next episode.
Right.
Actually, is the marketing. And
so did we cover everything on post?
I think so. I think we talked about sound. You have to do it.
It's like location. Post.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's just so important that you can't stress that enough, really.
And please, people, remember your post people. I remember being on the strike lines. I was a strike captain at Netflix, and they would come out with their little IATSE shirts and their funny little shirts that say "Fix It in Post" and stuff like that. And they were there just to support us. One, they're not doing much work editing when people are gone, but they probably still had some work because there was plenty of stuff in the can for post people to keep working on while we were striking. And some of them still came out and walked the picket lines, and people saying, don't forget them. Don't forget they're so part of this film industry. Like, everything's collaborative. A film is not a singer-songwriter on his guitar, going to the bar, or her guitar, going to the bar, getting a gig, and singing and playing.
No.
It's not. It's one of the most extensive forms of art.
It is.
It requires a lot of people.
So much. It takes a village, truly.
But even a play does.
Oh, for sure.
So,
performing art in this medium of acting, of, filmmaking is really, really something that to do it alone is you're in the wrong field.
Yeah.
If you want to do it alone. But I think next week we talk about marketing.
Yep.
Next episode. And that kind of ties into post-production and when do you start marketing and all that. And we have a guest who's.
Yep. So they won't be stuck with just us.
No, yeah. So you'll hear a third voice if you're just listening, and you'll see a third face if you're watching this podcast. But thank you guys for listening so much.
That's
and
right.
Per usual, go back if you haven't watched or listened to the previous episodes.
Yep.
Watch the web series. It will, by the time you're listening to this one,
It will all be out.
It'll all be out. So that's
right.
super exciting. Listen to it, watch it, and appreciate your post-production people.
That's right.
That's
the whole thing about this episode.
Yeah.
We need people to understand because so many filmmakers don't understand. Hey, and go ahead and message us. SayLaVieTheSeries.com,
Oh, yeah.
VinciProductions.com. Both have ways for you to
contact
us.
ask
By the way,
questions.
I also am Cinematic Scribe. So there is if you're a screenwriter, we put up the contest right now once a year. Hopefully we're going to launch it twice a year soon. And it's myself and Renata Green-Gaber and other industry professionals reading your short film scripts. And we do literally give out $500 grand prize. And so you can also reach me through Cinematic Scribe. You can find that email on Film Freeway.
Yep.
And so you can find us. So if you have questions, don't hesitate.
Yeah, so tune in and listen to the next one where we talk about marketing.
That's right.
Thank
So
you
for now,
guys. Peace
ciao.
and ciao.